In our world today, distractions are everywhere. Social media, peer pressure, the desire for success, and the constant pursuit of material wealth often cloud our minds. But here's the truth. Where you place your focus determines your direction in life. When you fix your eyes on Jesus, you begin to see life differently. Jesus teaches us love, patience, kindness, and faith. Instead of being consumed by worries, fears, and doubts, you begin to experience peace, hope, and clarity. Remember the story of Peter walking on water? As long as Peter kept his eyes on Jesus, he walked steadily. But the moment he looked away and focused on the storm, he began to sink. That's a powerful lesson for us today. The storms of life will come, but when we fix our eyes on Jesus, we can rise above them. 2, transformation through faith. When you focus on Jesus, change happens from the inside out. You might be wondering what kind of change. Now, let me explain. Focusing on Jesus helps you develop strong moral values, compassion for others, and resilience in difficult times. It doesn't mean life will be free of challenges, but it does mean you will face those challenges with courage and faith. Think of it this way. Jesus is like a lighthouse guiding us through the darkness. When life feels overwhelming, his light helps us navigate the storms and find our way back to peace. Many people who have faced hardship, whether illness, loss, or failure, have found strength by focusing on Jesus. They experience healing, comfort, and a renewed sense of purpose because they place their trust in him. 3, practical steps to fix your eyes on Jesus. Now, you may be wondering, how do I actually fix my eyes on Jesus? Here are some practical steps. Start your day with prayer. Before you look at your phone or check the news, spend a few minutes talking to Jesus. Ask him to guide your day and help you stay focused on what truly matters. Read the Bible regularly. The Bible is full of wisdom, encouragement, and guidance. When you read it, you remind yourself of Jesus' teachings and his love for you. Serve others. Jesus taught us to love and serve one another. When you help someone in need, you're not just making their life better, you're also strengthening your connection with Jesus. Surround yourself with positive influences. Spend time with people who encourage your faith and inspire you to be the best version of yourself. Join a faith-based community or youth group where you can grow spiritually. Keep your eyes on eternity. Remember that this life is temporary, but the love and promises of Jesus are eternal. When you keep that perspective, it becomes easier to let go of worries and trust in his plan for your life. Conclusion, watch everything change. When you fix your eyes on Jesus, you will notice that your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, and your life becomes more meaningful. You'll find joy in small moments, strength in tough situations, and peace that surpasses all understanding. So I challenge you today, fix your eyes on Jesus and watch everything change. Not just for a moment, but every day. Make him the center of your life, and you'll be amazed at the transformation that takes place. Thank you, and may God bless you on this journey of faith and focus. In today's fast-paced world, it can be incredibly easy to lose focus. We're constantly bombarded by distractions, social media notifications, deadlines, advertisements, and the endless stream of information coming from every direction. All of these things compete for our attention and can pull us away from what truly matters. But imagine for a moment what would happen if, instead of being distracted by the noise of the world, we chose to fix our eyes on Jesus. This might sound simple, but it's a powerful concept that can completely change the way we live. When you focus on Jesus, your thoughts, actions, and emotions begin to shift. You stop reacting to the chaos around you and start responding with faith, grace, and wisdom. Why is that? Because when Jesus is at the center of your attention, he becomes your guide, your anchor, and your source of peace. Everything else, your fears, your worries, your doubts, starts to fade into the background. The Bible tells us in Hebrews 12:02 to fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. This verse reminds us that Jesus not only leads us on our spiritual journey, but he also strengthens us and refines us along the way. One of the best examples of the power of focus can be found in the story of Peter walking on water. In Matthew 14, Peter steps out of the boat and begins walking toward Jesus. As long as Peter keeps his eyes on Jesus, he walks steadily across the water. But the moment he looks away and starts focusing on the wind and the waves, he begins to sink. This story teaches us a profound lesson. When we focus on Jesus, we can do things that once seemed impossible. We can walk through the storms of life with confidence. But when we shift our focus to our problems, we start to feel overwhelmed, and we lose our sense of balance and direction. Focusing on Jesus doesn't mean that life will suddenly be free of challenges. It doesn't mean that you'll never experience pain, disappointment, or struggle, but it does mean that you'll have a solid foundation to stand on when those challenges arise. Jesus becomes your constant, your source of hope and strength. You may not be able to control everything that happens around you, but you can control where you place your focus. And when you focus on Jesus, you're reminded that He is bigger than any problem you may face. Another amazing thing about focusing on Jesus is that it changes the way you see the world. Instead of being consumed by negativity, you start to notice the blessings all around you. You become more patient, more compassionate, and more forgiving. You start to see people through the lens of love and grace, just as Jesus does. And as your mindset changes, so do your actions. You begin to make choices that reflect your faith, and you become a source of light and encouragement to others. In a world that's constantly trying to pull your attention in 1,000 different directions, choosing to fix your eyes on Jesus is a radical act. It's a choice to rise above the distractions and focus on what truly matters. And when you do, you'll find that everything begins to change. Not because your circumstances are suddenly perfect, but because your perspective has shifted. You'll have a sense of peace, purpose, and clarity that comes from knowing that Jesus is leading the way. When you fix your eyes on Jesus, something remarkable begins to happen. You undergo an inner transformation that can completely change your life. This change may not always be immediate or dramatic, but it is real, powerful, and lasting. It's a transformation that comes from placing your faith in Him and allowing His presence to guide and shape your thoughts, actions, and decisions. Focusing on Jesus shifts your perspective, helping you move away from fear, anxiety, and selfishness and toward hope, peace, and love. It's like planting a seed in your soul that over time grows into something strong, beautiful, and fruitful. One of the most profound ways that focusing on Jesus transforms us is by giving us a sense of peace, even in the midst of difficult circumstances. Life is full of challenges, whether it's dealing with loss, facing failure, or navigating uncertainty. These moments can leave us feeling lost and overwhelmed, but when we focus on Jesus, we are reminded that we are never alone. He walks with us through every trial and promises to give us strength when we feel weak. The Bible says in John 16:33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." This verse doesn't promise a life free of problems, but it does promise that Jesus has the power to help us overcome them. Another way that focusing on Jesus leads to transformation is by changing our values and priorities. When we fix our eyes on Jesus, we begin to see the world through His eyes. We start to care less about material things and more about things that have eternal significance, like kindness, integrity, and serving others. Jesus teaches us to love our neighbors, to forgive those who hurt us, and to be a light in a dark world. As we draw closer to Him, these teachings become more than just ideas. They become the guiding principles of our lives. We start to make choices that reflect our faith, and we become living examples of His love and grace. This transformation is also evident in the way we respond to the struggles and setbacks we encounter. When we focus on Jesus, we develop resilience, the ability to keep going even when things get tough. We stop relying solely on our own strength and start leaning on His strength instead. This doesn't mean we won't ever feel discouraged, but it does mean we'll have the courage to keep moving forward because we know that Jesus is working all things together for our good. Romans 8:28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." This verse gives us hope and reminds us that even our most difficult moments can be part of a greater plan. Finally, focusing on Jesus transforms our relationships. As we experience His love, we are inspired to love others more deeply and selflessly. We become more patient, more compassionate, and more forgiving. This change doesn't happen overnight, but over time, it becomes evident to the people around us. They may notice that we're more at peace, more joyful, and more willing to lend a helping hand. And as we live out our faith, we can inspire others to seek Jesus for themselves, creating a ripple effect of love and transformation. In short, when we fix our eyes on Jesus, we open ourselves up to a profound inner transformation. We become less focused on ourselves and more focused on Him and His purposes for our lives. We experience a deeper sense of peace, purpose, and joy, and we develop the strength and resilience to face life's challenges with courage and faith. This transformation may not always be visible right away, but over time it becomes undeniable, and it has the power to change not just our lives, but the lives of those around us as well. Fixing your eyes on Jesus is not just a lofty spiritual idea. It's something that can be applied in practical, everyday ways. While the concept sounds simple, keep Jesus at the center of your life, it can be challenging to put into practice when distractions, doubts, and life's demands pull us in different directions. However, there are tangible steps we can take to help us stay focused on Jesus and strengthen our relationship with Him. These steps may seem small, but over time they can have a profound impact on our faith, our outlook, and our overall sense of peace and purpose. One practical way to fix your eyes on Jesus is to begin and end your day with prayer. Prayer is a powerful way to connect with Jesus, seek His guidance, and align your heart with His will. When you start your day with prayer, you set the tone for everything that follows. You're essentially saying, Jesus, I trust you to guide me today. This helps you approach the day with a sense of peace and purpose, no matter what challenges may come your way. Ending the day with prayer allows you to reflect on what happened, thank Jesus for His blessings, and release any worries or burdens into His hands. It's a way to close the day with a sense of gratitude and trust. Another important step is reading the Bible regularly. The Bible is often referred to as God's Word for a reason. It contains the teachings, stories, and wisdom that help us understand who Jesus is and what it means to follow Him. When we immerse ourselves in the Bible, we're reminded of Jesus' love, His promises, and His example. We learn how He treated others, how He handled difficult situations, and how He stayed connected to His Father, even during times of trial. By reading and reflecting on the Bible, we keep Jesus' teachings fresh in our minds, which helps us stay spiritually grounded and focused. Serving others is another practical way to fix your eyes on Jesus. Jesus Himself said, "The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve," Matthew 20:28. When we serve others, whether it's through volunteering, helping a friend in need, or simply offering a kind word, we are following in Jesus' footsteps. Serving others shifts our focus away from ourselves and helps us live out our faith in tangible, meaningful ways. It's a reminder that true greatness comes from humility, compassion, and a willingness to put others first. It's also important to surround yourself with positive influences. The people you spend time with can have a big impact on your mindset and your spiritual life. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, it can be easy to lose sight of Jesus and get caught up in things that don't really matter. But when you spend time with people who encourage your faith and inspire you to be the best version of yourself, it becomes much easier to stay focused on Jesus. This might mean joining a faith-based community, attending church regularly, or participating in a small group or Bible study. Another practical step is to be mindful of what you focus on throughout the day. We live in a world that constantly tries to grab our attention with things that are temporary and superficial, whether it's social media, entertainment, or the pursuit of material success. While there's nothing wrong with enjoying these things in moderation, it's important to make sure they don't become the main focus of your life. By intentionally choosing to focus on things that have eternal value, like love, kindness, and faith, you can keep your eyes fixed on Jesus even in the midst of a busy, noisy world. Finally, it's helpful to keep an eternal perspective. This life is temporary, but Jesus' love and promises are eternal. When we keep that in mind, it becomes easier to let go of worries, fears, and the need for control. We're reminded that our ultimate hope is not in our circumstances, but in Jesus and His plan for our lives. This perspective brings a sense of peace and freedom, allowing us to face life's challenges with courage and faith. By taking these practical steps, prayer, reading the Bible, serving others, surrounding ourselves with positive influences, being mindful of our focus and keeping an eternal perspective, we can fix our eyes on Jesus and experience the peace, joy, and transformation that come from living a Christ-centered life. It's not always easy, but it's a journey worth taking, and it has the power to change everything. In conclusion, fixing your eyes on Jesus is not just a spiritual concept, it's a transformative way to live your life. When you focus on Him, everything changes. You gain strength in the storms, peace in the chaos, and clarity in a world full of distractions. You begin to see life through His eyes, shifting your priorities, your values, and even your relationships. This journey isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about taking practical steps like prayer, reading the Bible, serving others, and keeping an eternal perspective that draw you closer to Him every day. Challenges will come, but when your eyes are fixed on Jesus, you'll discover a deep, unshakable faith that carries you through. So as you leave here today, I encourage you to make a choice to center your life on Jesus. Trust him, follow his example, and keep your eyes on his promises. When you do, you'll be amazed at how everything begins to change, from your perspective to your purpose, from your struggles to your victories. Fix your eyes on Jesus and watch your life be transformed in ways you never imagined. Thank you, and may God bless you on this incredible journey of faith, hope, and love.